me and you look together the same. I don't know if you know that, but I wanted to make sure our faces were the same
We're the
size.
same. It's good to look like that you're even and equal and spatially
Yeah, otherwise,
good.
imagine if I'm tiny and you're big. I'll be an Oompa Loompa.
You'd be an Oompa Loompa, and I would look, yeah, humongous. So it's as good.
Yeah.
Joe, hi.
Hi, welcome
Doing this.
to welcome to your show.
Welcome to my show. Welcome. And welcome those that are watching right now. If you have questions, I know you're going to have them. Be ready to put those in the chat. We're just going to have a great conversation. How does that sound to you?
It sounds amazing. I'm
We're going
really
to
excited about this conversation. I was looking forward to having a conversation with you because anytime I have a conversation with you, you never know what's going to happen. And that's what's fun about improv and about being in the zone and being authentic and being yourself and not having reservations around what people think about you or the opinions, like just being yourself. That's really, really powerful to be able to just show up and be and exist.
I agree 100%. And not everyone's going to like us.
Well, maybe they're not going to like us, or maybe they don't know they like us. Maybe they do
They
like
may not.
us really, but their liking is hating because hate is a form of love.
I love it. There's going to be so many more beautiful nuggets like that today. I'm going to do a little intro because I feel like doing that. Can I?
Yes, yes.
Because
If you feel like doing that, take it
you
away.
just you have so many beautiful accomplishments. We have to get some of those out there so people know why the heck we're having this conversation. And we're going to talk about AI and how we can leverage AI as a networking tool. And there's two things that you're really good at. You're good at networking. You are like phenomenal at it. And then the second thing is that you have really grown passionate about how to use AI to leverage your business. So with that said, I have you here, Joe Applebaum, and you are the CEO and the founder of Ajax Union, a B2B digital marketing agency that's located in Brooklyn. So we're neighbors. We're neighbors.
Yay.
You're a business strategist, a LinkedIn expert, a certified Google trainer, and you enjoy speaking and writing about digital marketing, professional networking, and personal development uh, in the form of seminars, webinars, articles, and here on LinkedIn and YouTube.
Yeah. I'm really excited about being on LinkedIn and YouTube. And by the way, I couldn't get it to stream on my LinkedIn Live because the title was too long. It said the title's too long. I don't know what that even means. On Restream, you have networking like a pro, building, blah, blah, dot, dot. I couldn't see how big the title was, but apparently it was too long for creating a LinkedIn event. And
Okay.
so I don't know what the length is for the future. Like, make sure it's the right length. And then for YouTube and for for Facebook, it was the right length. So it worked out for YouTube and Facebook. I know it sounds really weird, but whatever.
Well, you know what? You find out something new every time. And I feel like everything we do is a huge experiment and some of it sticks and then we learn things along the way. And so now
Hmm.
I now know that. So shorter titles, everybody just shorter titles. What do you think about that, Joe?
I think the appropriate length is important,
I
but
do
if
too.
it's too long for LinkedIn, it's not going to work. And so just making sure that the titles adhere to the LinkedIn's best practices would be ideal. That's, like I don't know what the max length on events, but I'm going to Google it right now. Max length on LinkedIn events titles.
I love it. Real time
In real
tips.
time, it says 75 characters. So you can
Sarah,
measure the amount of characters you have right now, because I know you're into characters.
I'm totally into characters.
Characters welcome. Whose
Well,
tagline is that?
well,
Characters
and here's
welcome.
the beautiful thing about AI, right? We can put it in AI, we can put it in ChatGPT and say, I need to have 75 characters or less for my LinkedIn live that I'll be doing via Restream. And these and or find out what it is on stream, it's going to be the same on StreamYard, but whatever stream platform you're using. We have Shoko in the
100%.
house. I just want to acknowledge, and we also have our friend Tina. Thank you both for being here and listening. And we just already gave you a great tip about how many characters you use when you do a live stream via LinkedIn, if you
Are
want to
you
connect that.
are you live streaming to your YouTube channel right now or not
I
really?
am.
Okay, well I see Meredith Grunde on YouTube and I don't see a live thing. There's 26 connections. Do you have it as something else
Well,
on YouTube?
I have several YouTube accounts, so maybe that's
Ah.
part of the problem.
Oh my God. The one that I'm looking at is youtube.com/at Meredith Grunde. But
No,
you have a
that's my
different one.
acting one
That's your acting one. So what's the one you're using for this?
at
At what?
Grundy Coaching. I'm loving this.
Ah,
I'm gonna ask you a question. Can I ask you a question to get this party
please.
started? Because I know that people are just hungry for AI tips and how to use that for networking. So I'm going to start off with one question.
Go
Can
for
you
it.
multitask? I have a feeling of all the people in the world that you're very good at it.
I'm good at multitasking. I just want to see how long your thing is over here. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, what's the question?
Okay, so how can you use AI to help individuals build and maintain professional networks effectively?
Well, the most important thing you need to do to build professional networks is to connect with people based on who they are. You want to connect with Tina Larson, connect with her based on who she is. But how are you going to connect with her based on who she is if you don't really know who she is unless you review her profile, which takes a lot of time?
Mhm.
And so AI can do the research for you. It can tell you who Tina Larson is. So, for example, if you use this tool called Evy AI, which I'm very fond of, EVYAI.com, because it's my little baby,
Mhm.
and you can just go to Tina Larson's profile, click on summary, save her profile, click on summarize profile. It'll summarize her whole profile. Now I know who she is. Now I can build a relationship with her, because until I know who she is, I can't build a relationship with her. The other thing is, if I want to connect with someone on LinkedIn, I need to write something called a connection note with up to 300 characters. How are you going to write your connection note on LinkedIn? Well, you can write it manually and put in the person's name and probably misspell their name and blah, blah, blah. But AI is never going to misspell Tina Larson's name. It's always going to get it right. I always misspell your name because Meredith does it have two E's? Does it have one E? Does it have two I's? Does it have three I's? I don't know how many I's you have.
I blame my mother for that, Joe.
Anyway, but it's different because every time Meredith is spelled different. Bottom line is, AI is never going to misspell Meredith. It's going to spell it exactly the way it's spelled in your profile because it's pulling it straight from your profile. It's not doesn't have a dyslexia unless you program the AI to be a dyslexic AI, which, by the way, is not a terrible
No,
idea.
it's not.
I have a drunk
Brilliant minds are
AI. I have
dyslexic.
a male Barbie AI. I have a dog AI. I have so many different AIs, you know? So that's the idea.
Okay, so here's my question for you. So let's just say that you use AI, and I think it's a powerful tool to leverage all those things. But there's that thing that we're starting to notice now that more and more people are using AI tools, which is that they start to sound the same. So can you talk to us a little bit about how to help differentiate yourself and it not sound like you used AI to make that initial connection?
Yeah, if you don't want to sound robotic. So AI by default will sound robotic. Just so you know, AI is a robot and it's going to sound robotic because it's programmed to be a robot. So if you just use AI as a robot, it will sound like a robot because it was programmed to be a robot. So it's going to sound like a robot. Whoa, really? Oh my God. People, it's like, oh, I tried to use AI. It sounds like a robot. Duh. Did you tell it not to be a robot? Did you tell it to act like a drama queen? Did you tell it to act like a yenta? Did you tell it to make you a klezmer song? If you didn't tell it to make you a klezmer song, you should try it. It's amazing. I don't know why I sound like an old bubby right now,
I
but I
don't know
sound like an
either.
old bubby. I became a bubby. But you can tell AI what to act like, and it will act like that. If you want AI to use specific words or not to use specific words, tell it not to use those words or tell it to use specific words. Here's one that I like to tell AI. I say, be conversational and don't use corporate jargon. Corporate jargon is all the words that AI is trained to use by default when you're not giving it anything. And so it sounds terrible. And it says, unlock the power of unleashing synergy with your mother's. What? Why are you unleashing synergy? What are we doing here?
Delve into the
Yeah,
unknown.
exactly. It's so ridiculous. You want it to be conversational and you don't want to use corporate jargon because corporate jargon sounds like a bunch of BS words. I was listening to the COO of LinkedIn talk about revenue leaders in his company and blah, blah, blah. And he was talking corporate jargon and he was saying a bunch of fluffy words that like didn't really have meaning to me. Like I was like
Yeah.
trying to hear, what did they talk about? And he talked about nothing using a bunch of fluffy words. And I was like, wow, that's where AI learned it from. It learned it from all these people that are reading scripts and just speaking corporate jargon. And it's fine if you're the COO of LinkedIn because you want to be very safe. But if you're a regular human and you want to sound authentic and you want to speak to an audience of people and you want to really sound like yourself and be unique, you need to train AI to sound like you by giving it your own sentences. Like literally give it an example. If you don't give AI an example email, it's not going to know what an example email you write. Like
Mhm.
even the way I just said that sentence, I said it grammatically incorrect. That's fine. You know what? Tell AI not to worry about grammar and instead to worry about sounding like you. And it's going to give you grammatically incorrect sentences that sound like you because you speak in a grammatically incorrect way. and that's how you want to sound. And this way, it's guaranteed not to sound AI. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'll tell artificial intelligence to purposely put in typos. And people will be like, why the hell would you do that? And the answer is because there's no way people are going to be like, this was AI because it has a typo. And you know where I learned that from?
Where?
Scammers. If you ever see scammers, they always have typos in their emails. Why do they have typos in their emails? They have typos in the email so it doesn't look like it's a robot. They purposely mistype words so that they sound authentic. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, though. I would say scammers, from my experience, have kind of a mix of both. There's like these weird typos, and then it also somewhat sounds like a robot at the same time.
Yeah, they really tried to mix it all up in there.
And it's like, you know what? Less is more, people. If you want to scam me, less is more.
Less is more. Stop
Now,
doing all the different tactics altogether.
now I get these WhatsApp scammers who are like, hi.
Oh my God, I get them all the time. I get it on Instagram. I get it on WhatsApp. I get it on regular text message. You're like, how have you been? And I'm like,
Oh, you
what?
missed golf yesterday. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't golf, but they
Susan, you looked really good in that dress today. I'm like, what? I had no idea I changed my name to Susan.
You did. You did. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay. So you mentioned EVAI. And so I'm just going to put right here for people, if they're watching right now, to scan this QR code. Use your phone to do that if you don't know that already. This will take you directly to Joe's website, which has EVAI on there. It's one of his babies. He's created it. Support Joe. So let's talk a little bit more about how we can leverage AI. And you just already gave us a lot of really great points, which is we have to train it. Otherwise, it's going to sound like a robot. So if you're making these connections on LinkedIn using EVAI, for example, that you would train it so that it sounds like you. And then we just talked about typos. We talked about not having to be grammatically correct all the time, which I find fascinating because I also do TikTok videos, Joe. And I will not forget, there was one that blew up that went viral. And I started off with, you've got to stop, right? And I had at least 5 people in the comments say that wasn't grammatically correct. And those people I feel are just, well, if you're going to pick me apart because of the beginning of a TikTok video, then maybe you're not my client.
Wow. That's a big thing that you want to realize, that people that will pick you apart about things are
Mhm.
not your ideal client. They might be your client, but they might not be your ideal client. So
Yeah.
like some people will be like, "Oh, they they chose to judge me based on the way that I show up instead of who I am." Like they chose to judge me based on my grammar just to kind of correct me because they weren't even listening to the message. But some people have those childhood wounds. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
wounds that they
it's
have. They're
true.
not trying to be hurtful. They say hurt people, hurt other people. I want people to realize that other people's opinions are none of your business. And if you can get out of your ego, if you can get out of your identity, if you can get out of you trying to look good all the time, and instead focus on making an impact, focus on other people, focus on making a difference, focus on being yourself, focus on being authentic, then what's going to end up happening is, sure, people are going to hate on you. Some people are going to be like, oh, you look too Jewish, you sound too Jewish, you smell too Jewish, like all that stuff. I should really throw away the Jewish cologne, the lox and cheese cologne. But what I want people to know is, like, you just have to be yourself. If you are
Oh,
yourself, you will connect with the 10% in the room that really love you, and 10% will hate you, and the other 80% doesn't care anyway. So the
oh,
key is to focus on the 10% that love you, and then some of the 80% will convert to lovers, some will convert to haters, some will kind of switch around and have their multiple personality disorders. But what I want you to know is that you need to love yourself. You need to show
100%.
up for yourself fully. And if you can show up fully and you can train the AI to know who you are, then you're much more likely to be successful. There's a woman that I recently was chatting with, and she said, Joe, Evie AI is great. I love it, but I can't get it to sound exactly like me. And I said, is it you? And she's like, what do you mean, is it me? I was like, it's not you. It's not exactly you. You want to train it to sound like you, teach it, give it examples, tell it what you sound like, tell it what you don't sound like, tell it what to do, tell it what not to do. But it's never going to be exactly you. AI is not going to be exactly you. That's why it's going to get you to 80%, and then you do 20% of the work. You still have to do some of the work. For
Yeah.
example, if I make you a whole meal, you still have to eat the meal. Like, you still have to do some of the work. You still have to, if I bring you the salad and I give you the dressing in a separate container, don't complain that I didn't put the dressing in the container right? Like add your own dressing in the container. I went and made you the salad yesterday, and if I would have put it in, it would have been soggy. And so make sure that you put the dressing right before you're going to eat it, and it'll taste amazing, but you have to do some work. Like you have to walk up the flight of steps to get into the house for the party. I'm not going to go down and carry you unless you weigh like 80 pounds. Then I'm fine. I can carry you. You saw where I went with that?
This is great. And if we ever have dinner together, and you just hand me the salad dressing, I promise I won't say a word. I'll understand what my role is.
Okay.
I'll take
Yes.
full
Just
responsibility.
mix the salad dressing, and while you're mixing it, I'll carry you up the stairs.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. This is networking at its best, Joe.
She's like mixing the salad while I'm carrying her up the stairs.
This is fun. So we have a couple of people that have made some comments here. So Kai, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. She said, perfect collab I've seen today. Thank you so much for that. Joe, thank you. Rosario, there are a lot of people who aren't ready for the new ways of social media networking and consider us to be influencers. The only thing we are looking to influence is change to adapt to today's society. What are your feelings about that?
I think that it's not so much about change, because the more things change, the more they stay the same. Personally, it's about making a difference to the people that you are talking to. You're not talking to everybody. So many people try to talk to everybody.
Yeah, and you can't.
You can't talk to everybody. You can talk to the dozen people that are going to be listening. You're going to talk to the 2 dozen, the 3 dozen. My goal is to touch 1,000 people every day. So if 1,000 people see me 1,000 times, that's powerful. By the way, in the comments, let me know right now, how many people would you like to inspire on a daily basis? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 50? Is it 100? If it's 1 million, it's not likely that you're going to be able to inspire 1 million people every day, because even a guy like Gary Vaynerchuk doesn't do that. You look at his posts, he might have 5 million followers, but he only has about 1,000 likes or whatever on his posts or whatever. Sometimes he only has 30 comments or whatever. And so what I would recommend that you guys do is set a goal for how many people you actually want to inspire. It could, some people say they want to just inspire one person. But in the comments, I'd be curious to know how many people you actively want to inspire on a regular basis, and maybe who is the target market. I know for Tina Larson, her target market is co-op and condo board members in New York City. For you, Meredith, it might be coaches and consultants that are struggling to just be themselves. Everybody has a person that they want to target, and so making it clear who your avatar is, making it very, very clear who your avatar is, and making sure that you're communicating to them based on their pains, their goals, their dreams, their fears, their needs, their asks. Like, what are the questions that your ideal clients even are asking? And are you writing about those things? I know, Meredith, some of your clients are interested in networking like a pro. And so you brought in the networking maestro, Joe Apfelbaum, who wrote the book, High Energy Networking. I don't know if you've ever read the book. I don't know if you've ever read the book, but so many people have read the book and they loved it. They call it the Bible of networking, because I actually have the 10 commandments. I wanted to make the 10 crack commandments of networking. Have you ever heard that song before by Biggie? He has like, you ever heard it? The 10 crack commandments?
No.
Okay, you haven't
You're
heard
going to have
it?
to send it to me now, and then I can say yes the next time we have a call.
Okay, I'll send you the 10 crack commandments. But anyway, if you guys haven't heard, does anyone know Biggie? Write Biggie in the chat if you've heard of Biggie. But what I want you guys to know is that there are specific rules. There are specific rules to this game. If you want to play the game of networking, there are specific rules. And part of that is really getting to know people. I like leaving comments on people's posts that I have a relationship with. Like whenever I see your post online, I make sure that I leave a comment on your post. If I see a post of yours, I'm not going to pass by a post, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on YouTube or wherever it is. I'm a big fan of yours. So anytime I ever see any of your posts, I will go ahead and leave a comment. The problem is that leaving a comment can sometimes take time.
Yeah.
And so that's why I use Evy AI, EVYAI.com, to leave comments, because if I want to leave a comment for you, boom, I just click a button and it generates the comment for me in seconds. And because I customize my persona and I train it to sound like me, now it sounds like me, you know?
I think that's terrific. And so I would highly encourage people, because you have a free trial, right? That people
you could sign up.
Out.
You could try it out. There's no cost to try it out. There's no credit card required. So I do recommend people go to EVYAI.com. And by the way, if you guys are watching this, hit that repost button. If you're watching this video, hit that and the reason I want you to hit the repost button is because when you repost this video, your connections, just a few of them, maybe 5 or 10, are going to see this.
Yeah.
And they're going to benefit from the rapport that me and Meredith have. And they're also going to benefit by this message and help them out. So go ahead and hit that repost button. And by the way, I can see who reposted it. So far we have 2 reposts on this post. And both of those reposts are who? Are me. Both of those reposts are me. So if you haven't reposted it, go ahead and repost. I would love for you guys to find that repost button. And if you did repost, just write reposted in the chat. And I'm also looking for people to leave multiple chats. So if we have 10 people right now that are watching this and all of you leave 10 comments, we're going to get to 100 comments. So if you're in, just write I'm in. And I would love to see the more the merrier. I would love to see the most engaged people. So hit that repost button, give it a like, give it a middle finger if you want. I don't care. And then just or a thumbs up. You know what I mean? Like give it one of the give me
I like
something.
the middle fingers. It starts a good conversation. Bring on the
Yeah.
haters.
Bring on the haters, bring
Bring
on
'em
the
on.
waiters, bring on the see you laters, bring them all.
Bring them all. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit with you here because I want to ask this question too, because I know that a lot of people talk about AI and there's all the talk about taking over jobs and how can we incorporate the human with the AI and all the things. So talk to me a little bit about what do you think some of the ethical considerations that people should be keeping in mind when using AI for networking and relationship building?
I would say the number one thing is don't lie. Don't tell people that you wrote it if you didn't write it. If AI
Love
wrote
it.
it, don't lie. Don't say that you wrote it. That's number one. Number two is AI tends to make things up.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for facts, probably don't rely on AI for a fact. Try to figure out where they got that fact from, because AI is definitely going to make things up. And it does make things up all the time. And so you want to be careful and make sure that you're not relying it as a valuable source of information that's validated per se,
Mhm.
because chances are it's not really going to be validated by, by the powers that be. So I would
Yeah.
recommend making sure that, you do your research. And also, like, sometimes it's just going to not be accurate. Like, besides not be factual, it's just not going to be accurate. And so I would recommend making sure to double check everything and making sure that you read what you're posting. So a big pitfall is people just create something and post it and have a good day. They trust it. Don't just trust it. Forget about even not being real. It might not even be accurate. It might not even be what you want to say. It might not even be related to what you want to say. Because sometimes you give it a prompt and you gave it a crappy prompt, and so it produced a garbage for you. And then you just posted it and then you look like an idiot. And people read that, they'll be like, I'm never going to trust this person again.
Yeah.
So make sure
Agreed.
that you're reading it, make sure that you're editing it, making sure that you're modifying it, that you're researching and making sure that it's accurate, and then have fun with it. And again, don't lie about it. Don't say that you're not using AI if you're using AI, but just be real and be okay with using technology. So many people, even in today's day and age, there are people in some tribes that don't use any technology at all. They're against using lawnmowers and they're cutting grass with their scissors. Could you
That's me.
imagine? Yeah, could you
Cutting
imagine
my
sitting
fire
down
escape.
and like sitting there cutting grass with your scissors? What do you call that? What do you call when someone cuts grass with their scissors? What would you call that? I know lawn mowing. I don't know what you would call cutting grass with your scissors.
Meditative clipping.
Clipping. Let's call it clipping. For a lack of a better word, if you're cutting grass with scissors, it's called clipping.
It's clipping.
That's amazing. That's so good. That's perfect for a stand-up routine. There's mowing and then there's clipping.
And then there's clipping. Where do you stand? OCD. We have some thank you, Kirsten, Michael, Antoinette, Shoko. Thank you all, Tina, for reposting. That's terrific. You had some great points about the ethical use of using AI as a tool, which is just don't lie about it, right? And also that I feel I'm going to add on to the fact checking piece, which is because I'm helping people with their talks and present and speak to audiences, you've got to fact check any of those startling stats or quotes that you're pulling from other people and or that research that you're doing if you're using AI. Like check the sources. I have used AI to kind of get started on things and ask the questions and ask like, is there any research that's been done? And then can you provide that source for me? And then it takes me to other places. So I feel like that's a great way to use that tool as well.
Yeah, and look, we have a circle that meets every single month for 3 hours where we review how to use AI for 3 hours. We like sit there for 3 hours and we go deep into it. It's evergreen.com/AI circle. Tammy just posted a link to it in the chat.
Amazing.
And what I want you guys to know is that like you can do so much with AI that's extremely powerful. Like for example, yesterday I was on LinkedIn Live and I spent 2 hours and 47 minutes just kind of like exploring what you can do on LinkedIn. And I figured out that if you click on my network and you click on your connections, you can see who's on LinkedIn right now in the moment. Like you can actually see who's on LinkedIn right now. There's like a little green dot by their name if your settings are set up correctly, that you can actually see out of your, let's say you have 1,000 connections, you have 5,000, but let's say you loaded 5,000 or even 1,000 of your 5,000 on that page. You scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and loaded 1,000. You can actually see who the green dots are. But let's say I wanted to filter out and only see the green dots because I only wanted to message the people that are using LinkedIn while I'm using LinkedIn. What would I do? And so I wanted to be able to filter that out. And so I did a little bit of research with an AI called Claude, and I built a Chrome extension that will remove all the people that are not currently live and only show me the people that are currently online on LinkedIn while I'm on LinkedIn. And then if I want to push another button, it puts it into a spreadsheet for me. So later I can go back to it. Like, and then I could just connect with those people because those people are actually active on LinkedIn versus the people that are not active. And so you think about the power of AI and networking and building relationships. You want to network with someone when they're available, right? Don't you want to network with someone when they're available? And so I personally use AI to help me not only leave comments, and some weeks I'll leave 250 comments in 1 week. Like, think about this. What is your goal for how many comments you want to leave each week for your connections? Meredith, what do you think your goal would be?
Oh, my goal has been all over the place, but I'm going to give you an answer. I'm going to say a week. Did you say?
Yeah, in a week. How many comments would you like to leave in a week?
I would say at least 50.
Right. So if you want to leave 50 comments a week, let's say you're only working 5 days a week, that's 10 comments per day. How long would it take you to leave 10 comments?
If I was using AI.
If you were not using AI, how long would it take you?
I could sit there and hem and haw over 10 comments because I want it. Yeah, it would take me like an hour, maybe.
An hour. If you used AI to leave 10 comments and you thoughtfully read each one and you modified them, it would take you not more than 5 minutes to leave 10 comments. That's a savings of 55 minutes. Now, my question to you is, how many pieces of grass can you clip in 55 minutes now that you saved that time in that meditative clipping?
Oh my goodness. The amount of grass I could clip is enormous.
And how much grass could you smoke while you clip grass?
A lot.
So think about that, guys. Think about how much time you would save if you just used AI to start leaving comments in your voice on LinkedIn. And if your goal is 50, write 50 in the chat. I'm curious to know what your goal is. My goal on a weekly basis is 250 comments. And I don't know if you know this, there's a place that can show you how many comments you left each week. Do you want to see that? Should I share my screen and just show you?
Sure. We're going to have to wrap up here too, Joe. So let's have this be the last, and then
the last thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then I want you to leave your information again for people so that they can find you.
Let me just quickly show people how to do this because people are super curious. If you go to your own profile, can you see my screen now or not yet?
No, not yet. Let me bring it in.
Okay. Okay, this is what my profile looks like when it loads. Okay, so this is my profile. Do you see where it says analytics here?
Where?
On the bottom, it says analytics right here.
Yes, I do. I see it right there.
Okay, everybody has this analytics. When you click on show analytics, it takes you to linkedin.com/dashboard. You could see so far this week, I wrote 2 posts because it started today from October 7th. I wrote 2 posts and I did 11 comments and I did 0 contributions. If I want to leave comments on the feed, okay, so this is how many comments on the feed I left. I click on comments on the feed. It takes me to linkedin.com/feed. I click on comment, and now I'm able to leave a comment. In this case, I'm going to share an opinion. I'm going to sound whimsical, and I'm going to use the persona of Joe Apfelbaum. Todd, your insights on emotional discipline and long-term strategy resonate deeply. It's crucial to focus on blah, blah, blah. Okay, I press insert. I press comment, and now I just left comment for Todd, one of my clients. I just commented on his post. If I go back to my profile, Meredith, I go back to my profile. I click on my profile again, and I go back to my dashboard. Under analytics, I click on show analytics. it's now going to say I left 12 comments on the feed. Do you see that? So I want
Yeah.
to leave 50 comments every single, 250 comments every single week. That means I'm going to be leaving 50 per day, 5 days a week. So in order for me to leave 50, it's going to take me, 20, 30 minutes to do that with AI, but that'll help me stay top of mind with 50 people. That's extremely powerful. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm very accessible. You could just go to linkedin.com and you just look me up, Joe Apfelbaum, APFELBAUM. You look me up. And then in my profile, under About, you click on this little More button here, the Show More button. You'll see my cell phone numbers here. You can WhatsApp me. You can join all of my resources here. If you want to join the AI Circle, it's right here. If you want your LinkedIn AI assistant, you go to eviai.com. If you want to join our AI automation community that meets 6 times a month, and I teach you how to do LinkedIn automation and build AI agents and all that type of stuff, you go right here. So if you want to be able to do any of that stuff, you just go to my About section on LinkedIn. That's where you can find me. And if you want to check out eviai.com, I highly recommend it. It'll change your life. Thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
You are amazing, and I knew you would drop a lot of different nuggets of wisdom. And thank you for this conversation. And I look forward to clipping grass with you, and eating salad.
Oh my God, it's the best. clipping grass and eating salad is so good while being carried up the stairs. Could you
While
imagine
being
that?
carried up the stairs. That is the power of yes and, my friend.
Yeah, that's the power of yes. And if anybody wants to join your session, how does somebody join your session where
Yeah,
people can learn how to be a podcast host like a smoke and roast?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. So I have Engage Your Audience with a Powerful Hook. I have this workshop coming up on October 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You can scan that QR code. You can follow me here on LinkedIn. I will be posting about it every day this week. And I'm also going to be giving you tips about how improv can help you in communication. And this will give you a sense of what it's like to work with me. And so, for example, Tina is a part of the group that meets every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is just one way for you to get to know me, get to know the work that I do, and how we have a lot of fun.
If you guys want to learn more about improv, just write the word improv in the chat and make a little smiley face. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you hover over the like, you can do a thumbs up, a middle finger, you can do a hand, a round of applause, or you could do a smiley face. So go ahead and put in a smiley face there. If you guys don't have the middle finger option, hit me up privately. I'll teach you how to set it up.
Yes,
But go ahead, put a smiley face there and write improv in the chat. This way Meredith can send you a invite to connect with her, and then she'll be more than happy to send you information about how to do improv and how to improve your authenticity on stage and off stage and have more confidence in your communication. So Meredith, thank you for having me here. Thank you for being such a gracious host. Thank you for allowing your audience to learn about AI and insights and networking and building relationship. I want to leave people with one piece of advice, which is that the secret to living is giving, which means don't worry about what you can take from people, but instead focus on what you can give, because you're going to feel better when you are a giver.
Yes.
Right? Hands,
guys. Yes, hands to that.
If you agree, just write I agree in the chat. The secret to living is giving, not faking and taking, unless you're waking and baking. I think that's what I said last time, and it worked out really well. I think that's what I said last time. But if you guys ever want to do stand-up comedy and you want to get good at stand-up comedy, focusing on first doing improv and then pulling good nuggets out of that will help you become better at everything that you do. So being in the zone, I like rapping in the zone. But if you get into that zone, and if you're in a non-judgmental place where you can really connect with someone, like Meredith, like she creates this beautiful environment where you can not feel judged and you can really be yourself, and that's how you can shine. And that's why if you watch her podcast, you'll see how many people are actually themselves when they show up with Meredith, because Meredith creates that safe space. So Meredith, thank you for creating that safe space. And look how many people said they're interested in improv. We have Tina,
It's brilliant.
Tina Lancy,
awesome.
Rick Cloti, we have Kristen, we have Roseanne, we just got you so many leads. You see, if you don't ask for it, you're not going to receive it. And so maybe in your future episodes, you can make this at the very, very end where you tell people, do you agree? Do you don't agree? Write the word improv, whatever. Even if you're going to send them the QR code, some people don't even know how to use it. Nobody went to a restaurant during COVID, like.
The comeback of the QR code. Yeah. Joe, you are always just so much fun to have these conversations with and to learn from. Thank you. If you're not following Joe already, please do. Please follow him on LinkedIn. He has so much wisdom. He has really helped out a lot of people in their businesses. And I love all of this knowledge and your obsession and your passion for AI and how we can use that to work better and to create more time to cut the grass, clip the grass,
Clip it.
clip it.
Clip it. Meredith said you are Wonder Woman. Can you put on a Wonder Woman costume?
I am Wonder Woman. I am.
Do you have a
I have a Wonder
costume?
Woman t-shirt. I
A
wore it
t-shirt.
yesterday.
Okay, good. I have a Wonder Woman sweatshirt.
You do? Okay, we're gonna wear those out. We're gonna have a networking event in Manhattan one of these days, and we'll wear our
Amazing,
Wonder Woman
amazing.
outfits.
I wonder
Okay.
what are some phrases that Wonder Woman typically says?
Good. I have no idea. I just do the triple turn and then I stop like this and I bounce
Oh
bullets
my
from my
God.
wrists. That's
From
usually
your wrists?
that's yeah, I don't, with my
Well,
cuffs and
I would imagine you bouncing bullets from your eyes.
that too. I can do all of it, Joe. I have mad skills. I have
with like
mad
laser vision.
skills. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone have an amazing week ahead.